Kaduna State is one of the states in northern part of Nigeria. It is the 8th largest city in the country as of 2006. Created in 1967 as part of the core of the North Central Geopolitical Zones, the state encompassed the modern-day Kaduna State and has been touted as arguably the most cosmopolitan of all northern states. The current governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir Ahmad El-Rufai, is a seasoned administrator and technocrat who has served and is still serving the country in various capacities. He has served as the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory (FCT), Director of Bureau of Public Enterprise, Head of Privatization Agencies, amongst others. Governor El-Rufai is a political leader whose approach to leadership could be described as a blend of delegative and paternalistic styles, as he is not a micromanaging leader, but one whose love for his people knows no bound, as evidenced by his outspokenness against all forms of gender or ethnic bias, as well as the prominence he gives to inclusive meritocracy in governance, as is seen in his appointment of qualified personnel to his cabinet, regardless of gender or place of origin, all aimed at advancing the fortunes of the state and, by extension, the country. On his assumption of office, he introduced statewide reforms aimed at cutting costs of governance and achieving efficiency in public service. His cabinet was shrunk in size without compromising effective service delivery to the Kaduna people. It is on record that Kaduna State Public Service, prior to his assumption of office, was gulping a monthly average of 2.7 billion naira. However, when El-Rufai assumed office in May 2015, he introduced and implemented the staff biometric exercise, which led to a successful reading of the state payroll of tons of ghost workers, thereby making a monthly saving of about 500 million naira for the state government. The administration also pioneered the implementation of Treasury Single Account (TSA), a policy which aims to cut down wasteful spending and financial leakages in the public service in the state, leading to the adoption of a zero-based budgeting (ZBB). Further moves were made to institute transparency in public procurement with the passing of the Public Procurement Law 2016 and the creation of the Kaduna Public Procurement Agency (KADPPA). With this, all tenders for procurement and contracts are published and bidding process is open and transparently conducted. Kaduna State imposed transparency and accountability in managing public finances by publishing its audited financial accounts annually on its official website and national dailies. By this, citizens and bodies could scrutinize the state's accounts. This has further entrenched a culture of accountability and transparency in government affairs. Under him, Kaduna State also adopted the International Public Sector Accounting Standards (IPSAS), as well as keyed into the Open Government Partnership (OGP), thus making the state the first subnational government in the world to do so. Governor El-Rufai, being a technocrat, has a major goal of developing Kaduna State by raising the standard of living of the people and providing basic amenities to life. To realize this, he has been working tirelessly with his aides to ensure that each sector of the state economy receives as much developmental focus and support as is needed. This documentary intends to spotlight the various sectoral and governance strides of Malam Nasir El-Rufai's administration. We begin with the Kaduna State Urban Planning and Development Authority (KASUBDA). The governor, with the state's advancement top on his priority list, designed a developmental master plan (DMP) immediately after assuming office on a developmental structure for the state. The success of the DMP has been stifled as there have been apparent deviation from the people who would rather erect structures along vehicular and waterways, thereby blatantly contravening urban and town planning codes and standards, obstructing free flow of vehicles and water, thereby causing heavy traffic on our roads and exposing the state to flooding danger. To deal with this threat, the governor set up the Kaduna State Urban Planning and Development Authority (KASUBDA) and placed at its head Malam Ismail Umaru Diko, a highly qualified and hardworking technocrat with a shared passion for development of Kaduna State.
Well, I think we just give God the glory. I think God in His infinite mercy happens to bless us with a governor that had gone to a lot of places at the time, a governor, a committed governor, a caring governor, that does not look at what me, you, and any other person in Kaduna would say in the next 1 year, 2 year, or 3 years. He's looking at where is Kaduna going to be in the next 20 years, 30 years, 50 years to come. And I show you other countries like Dubai and other developed countries pass through this process that we are undergoing right now. Basically, Kasuda is more of a physical plan. And whatever is going to happen in Kaduna, be it as long as you're going to develop anything in Kaduna, particularly the urban designated area, the major metropolitan city of Kaduna, you have to secure approval, but be it signages, be it buildings, be it masts, you are going to locate temporary structure, I'm going to do a suya spots, I'm going to do an ice cream joint, I'm going to do whatever, as long as it's going to be developed on a bare land. Now we have to look at what the master plan is. At some point, people tend to deviate from the master plan, and we felt most of the time you find it a bit uneasy for you to tell people that well, what you are applying here is not compatible with the design of the master plan. Now this master plan had already been done in the 1963 and was approved in 1967. Now that was the second master plan. There's the initial master plan that was done in 1917, and it was meant to last for 50 years, at which in 1967 a new one was done, which is the 1967, the second master plan. The white men, the colonial masters, did the initial one. That's why you have the Lord Lugard, all the colonial buildings in Kaduna, and the main GI of Kaduna. Some of the roads that are undergoing construction in Kaduna right now have been designed in the 1967 master plan. You can imagine. You can imagine the rubber road that is being constructed from Area House to the train station, the WAF road, the Tafa Railway, and the likes of them. We are designed in 1967. And it was designed to more or less be constructed, in a time frame manner at which the more people grow in Kaduna, the population grows, then you now introduce the next road that is in alignment with the master plan. But I believe since the initial concept of the late Sadona of blessed memory, the roads they did and some of the activities that were developed in Kaduna, since then there is no any tangible roads that was more or less built. Now, and these roads are not meant for just beautifying Kaduna. We are not targeting beauty of Kaduna, apart from the major target, which is the free flow of traffic, and to make one go to his destination in good time. There are components, and that's why it's been called urban renewal. Now the urban renewal we are talking about is, we have the component of the market. You just can't wake up and just convert your building, your residential building, to shops along the without appropriate setback, without taking into consideration what was issued for the purpose.
Speaking on the master plan of Kaduna State in line with the development strides, a communist, Suraj, has this to say.
Yes, to be honest, Kaduna State has actually looked more beautiful than it was. If you look from Kao to central Ngwarimi area, Kinshasa Road, and some parts, you see that there's free flow of traffic. Beautiful roads. They are all looking good. With even in the evening, some of us that use bicycle, we can actually ride even at night because of the lightning. This is really a wonderful thing, and that's actually one of the things that you see in a big city like Kaduna, that require. Kaduna is actually designed the image of some big cities, especially in the UK.
On Kaduna State Traffic and Environmental Law Agency, KASTLIA, the governor, understanding the need for more roads to curb unnecessary traffic congestion, created the KASTLIA to ensure strict adherence to traffic rules and address the state's traffic and environmental challenges. In making sure that Kaduna State is clean at all times, The governor engaged the services of over 6,000 unskilled youths for refuse collection on major streets across the state. The impact of this has been felt in terms of visibly cleaner environment and, by extension, a drastic reduction in dirt-associated diseases.
When His Excellency the Governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, came in, he now organized it and then employed strong men and women across the 23 local governments of the state and tasked with the responsibility of enforcement and also social services. When I said enforcement, is that some of the drivers or road users, in most cases, they have one problem or the other, their lack of documentation or lack of maybe going by the rules and regulations of traffic management or even the Constitution of the Republic of Nigeria. So it's the responsibility of Castelia to make sure that they enforce that each and every road user gets his proper documentation of his vehicle and so on and so forth. And then in the social services aspect of it, we try all the put also to make sure that our road is as free as air, so that anybody who wishes to use Kaduna State roads can do that without any problem, no congestion. And if there's in case of any accident, we find out we have sufficient ambulance, we rushed, we make sure that we recover so that we can save life. And then after giving the first treatment, that is first aid treatment, and then we convey them to the nearest medical center for them to get medical attention, as well as towing bands in case of a broken down vehicle on the major road, which can cause obstruction to the other road users. We move it off the road and then tow it to a particular place whereby it will possibly have to. But we have some nurses amongst us, and at the same time, we have ambulance, and most of the ambulance are well pitted with some of these medical materials in it. In case of any accident, we move with the ambulance, and then the nurses give the first aid treatment, and almost all Castelia personnel are also trained on first aid because we move with people and we maintain the roads, so we are expected to actually know how to give the first aid treatment to a patient before we move to various medical centers for medical attention.
First and foremost, Castelia, we want to appreciate the government for the wisdom in setting up Castelia. Road users, no matter your age, in all the roads in Kaduna State, especially now that government in their wisdom are remodeling the roads, Castelia should redouble their effort in more of raising awareness. By so doing, people will be more aware and do the right thing to obey the law of the authority. With the current happenings on the remodeling of the roads, there are bound to be pockets of hold-ups here and there. So they need to be more patient and continue to guide the road users so that there will not be unnecessary hold-ups where they need arise.
Obviously, the governor have done well. We thank him for putting all the traffic. This is the first time that Kaduna is having this massive development. So we thank God for the governor, and the traffic is superb. But some of the people doesn't obey the law of the traffic. So the Castelia are doing their job well. They're doing their good job. It's a good job Castelia is doing. Yeah, Nasir El-Rufai is one of a kind in Kaduna State. Is doing a very nice job. But from the infrastructure, the changing Kaduna as a big city, you understand, anybody that is doing business in Kaduna now is the time now to make a lot of gain in business in Kaduna State. Yeah, because of the development. Without development, the road network, even though you're doing business, you're doing the old-time business. But now you have to do the modern-time business. Many people will come back to Kaduna. Many people will come back to Kaduna. People that live Kaduna 10 years back, if they come back to Kaduna, they will know that this city is changed completely.
Infrastructural development. The governor's massive infrastructural project in terms of construction of roads, bridges, drainages, among others, across the state speaks volumes. There have been massive road projects across the state at the lowest possible cost, and prominent among these are the 5.125 kilometer Lugard Hall Roundabout Road Expansion Project, which was inherited from the immediate past administration. The governor not only continued and completed the project, he also renegotiated the contract sum from 3.685 billion naira to 2.50 billion naira, thus saving the state government about 1.2 billion naira. The state government road construction and rehabilitation projects are seen in virtually all the local governments of the state. About 29 contracts were recently awarded, covering roads in both urban and rural areas in 18 of the 23 local government areas of the state. Some of the major projects are Ongwandoki Road, Ongwansarki Road, dualization of Rigasa Road, Aliyu Makama Road in Barnawa, expansion of Kano Road Junction to PZ Road in Zaria, rehabilitation of Nnamdi Azikiwe Expressway, a federal road, construction of Mil Goma to Kwakwaram Manu Road, linking Basawa to Samaru and Shika, Sabongari local government area, among others. Recently, the amiable, culturally inspired governor embarked on massive renovation of palaces of emirs across the state. At the Zazzau Emirate, the Emir, His Royal Highness, Ambassador Ahmad Bamali, chairman of traditional rulers in Kaduna State, appreciated the governor for his magnanimity towards traditional rulers, adding that it took a governor with good cultural heritage and moral upbringing to know and value the roles of traditional rulers and institutions. The Emir added, and I quote, "As a man with good cultural norms and values, you decided to renovate to standard the palaces of the emirs across the state. May Allah, in His infinite mercy, bless you. I pray that you continue to render selfless service to the people. Please, whenever you are called upon, kindly answer."
This is on road construction. And then when you go to the education sector, almost, I can say at least about maybe 80% of our schools were rehabilitated, except a few, of course. But this is something that has to be ongoing to maintain the schools and the infrastructure. The administration spent stupendous amount of money fixing schools. Unlike before, that the alumni of all these schools will have to come and contribute money, and even if there was any intervention by the government, it was very negligible. But if you look at Baliar College here in Zaria, GSS Zaria now, Al-Budo, and in other places like my school, Kaduna, Government College, Kaduna. If you go to GGS or Queen Amina College, these were premier secondary schools, in those days, and they were all fixed, to standards. So he's done quite a lot, and even all our school over to Kaduna, even the intimidating bridge in Kao that is very glaring. You don't need a soothsayer to tell you that they have achieved a lot. There was a bridge, of course, done by one of his predecessors, but time has come now to improve on what the previous regime did. So he has improved the bridge. It is still under construction, because even at the time, we had the first bridge there was done under the administration. At that time, it was a big relief to everybody. So now the population has grown so rapidly, and then the traffic is huge, it's massive there, especially in evening hours. You can't get out of get in easily. So now this administration has come, they've seen, and they're constructing a mega bridge that you can find anywhere in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, well, to all the traditional rulers, they should continue to be patient, with their people, put heads together with the civil administration, so that at least their respective emirates and chiefdoms, will move forward. And we also pray that the government, look into the issues of traditional institutions.
To ensure that there are no potholes on the roads, the governor also established the Kaduna State Road Agency, KADRA, which has also made tremendous impact since inception of the El-Rufai administration. The impact of this agency was felt on major federal and state highways across the state, especially since the launch of its Operation Zero Pothole program. Still not satisfied, the governor made sure that the basic amenities to life do not elude the people of Zaria by providing potable water for them, which has been one of the major challenges they had faced in the past. The El-Rufai government has also lit up major towns and cities in Kaduna State by providing streetlights on major roads of the state. Education. Upon assumption of office, Governor El-Rufai revamped the education sector, which has been faced with lack of infrastructure, poor teaching and learning environment, unavailability of qualified secondary school teachers, especially in the fields of science. The governor brought solutions to these by 1. Embarking on massive renovation of state-owned public schools across the state. 2. Revamping the Kaduna State-owned furniture company and awarding contracts for the assembling of classroom furniture for the state schools. This solved the problems of furniture inadequacy that had made some students to sit on the floor during classes. Most schools have taken delivery of furniture. 3. Tackling the manpower challenge faced by schools with absolute focus on the field of science by employing over 2,500 science teachers who have been deployed to their respective places of assignment. 4. Carrying out massive capital projects in the tertiary institutions and increasing budgetary allocations to motivate them for improved productivity and have them take their place among the leading tertiary institutions in Nigeria. 5. Improving the quality of teaching in primary schools by retrenching 20,000 unqualified primary school teachers and replacing them with 25,000 competent ones. 6. Making primary and junior secondary education free in the state-owned schools and providing free uniforms to students of primary and junior secondary schools. 7. Enhancing capacity building in the educational sector. The state government has organized a series of trainings for its teachers. Next is hospitals, building and rehabilitation of hospitals and healthcare centers. The health sector also got its fair share of the El-Rufai developmental strides as he has built, renovated and expanded hospitals and healthcare centers across the state. Over 250 healthcare centers were rehabilitated across the state. Governor El-Rufai did not stop there as he employed qualified workers to oversee the affairs of this vital sector of the state, with the health centers giving free prenatal and postnatal care for pregnant women, just as delivery is also free for all registered pregnant women across the state.
In the hospital, we are now training doctors that we have graduated. Now we are also training them to specialize in various fields of medicine. Another 5 years training. We have Department of Community Medicine, Department of Family Medicine, Department of Pediatrics, Departments of Obstetric and Gynecology, Departments of Internal Medicine, Department of Radiology, and so many. All of these ones were accredited in the last 4 years during the tenure of this administration of Governor Nasir Ahmad El-Rufai. So we continue, and the accreditation and then the training continue in various fields. In fact, recently, the State University mounted new programs on allied health sciences, which means degree in nursing, degree in physiotherapy, degree in medical laboratory science, degree in radiography. So, and these students, they started out there in the university campus. This is their practical training ground. Out of the 5 years training period, they will spend 3 years in this hospital. And NUC and other professional bodies of these programs, they came here, they inspected the hospital, and they were all satisfied. They gave their note, and the university now started running these programs. So this is another plus in that respect. Then in terms of service delivery, of course, when you are doing that, when you accredit programs, especially at postgraduate level, You don't just accredit programs for the academic content of the program. The service aspect too has been looked into. In fact, it has been looked into curiously and thoroughly, and whoever did the accreditation, whichever body did, they were satisfied with it, the service delivery. They look at the service that you render and the processes, what you do, that it's of the standard. That's why you are even given the accreditation to run this program, which means you have the facilities, you have the processes, you have the patient turnover. That's why you are allowed to even do the training. So which means the service delivery is at par as any teaching hospital around in the country now. Let me start with internal medicine. For instance, we have the dialysis unit, which our dialysis unit is interesting to note that the cost of doing dialysis in this hospital has been slashed down to about 20 to 25% when compared to other hospitals in the country. This one is because of the subsidy the government gives. Every year, the government subsidizes the cost of using dialysis by purchasing the required consumables and commodities used in the dialysis. And dialysis is a life-saving procedure that is done on patients that have end-stage renal kidney disease. So this one has been markedly subsidized to about 25% to its normal price when you do it elsewhere. And this is still ongoing since 2015. This is still ongoing in this hospital. Then again, when you go to still in internal medicine, we have endoscopy services, which is gastroenterology. We have that services too, both upper and the lower GI and endoscopy services. We also have other units, echocardiology services. We also have pulmonology services, dermatology services, endocrinology services. All these ones, we have these units in this hospital. All this one came off within the last 5 to 6 years of this administration.
In terms of employment and state welfare, Governor Nasir El-Rufai's administration has effectively catered for the welfare of the state civil servants by sustaining and ensuring prompt payment of salaries. It has organized training and retraining exercise for workers. The state is currently right-sizing its workforce by retrenching unqualified workers and engaging qualified workers. Speaking with the Commissioner for Local Government Affairs, Alhaji Sani Ibrahim Jafaru, he has this to say.
Well, I will say it's excellent. Excellent in the sense that we are the only system, the only tier of government, in the country that implemented the 30,000 naira minimum wage for teachers in the 23 LGAs. LGA means local government education authorities. For health personnel in the primary health cares across the 23 local government areas, and then the central administration in the local governments. We followed it off by the implementation of 30,000 naira minimum pension. So we pay minimum wage of 30,000 and then 30,000 naira minimum pension for all pensioners who dedicatedly worked in the services of the 23 local governments. We, again, for the teachers, we ensure that we motivate them by paying teachers' allowance, which is 27.5% of their basic salary, and then rural posting allowance for the rural teachers, for rural schools. This measure assisted in ensuring that teachers with core competencies in their subject areas and good pedagogical skills can also be found in rural areas as they are found in the local governments that are in urban centers. So largely this is what we have been doing. We pay them leave grants as and when due. Today all the teachers are happy. All the health workers that are working in the 23 local governments are equally happy. And then workers at the central administration of the 23 local governments are equally joyfully executing their jobs, as expected. The system, just like its counterpart in other places. We are still facing the issues of truancy. We are facing cases of indiscipline. At least the way the workers, attend to patients in their facilities is still not yet 100% okay. So this is an area where the management of the State Primary Healthcare Board is working on and working tirelessly along with other stakeholders to ensure that all health personnel at that facilities at the local level come to work at the officially designed hours and they leave only when it is time for them to leave. We are coming up with service charters for these facilities so that at the onset there is a covenant between the service providers and the patients who visit such facilities as to the level and nature of the services to be expected in the facilities. We have again working with the Ministry of Health and that Directorate of Primary Health Care Service to ensure that all the staff carry name tag so that whoever that provide false service or mishandle a staff, you can easily using that tag to report him. So that is really introducing some sense of responsibility of the part of workers so that they take their patients very seriously and discharge the service in the most cautious manner to ensure the satisfaction at all sides. For teachers, we are stepping in, supervision, because what makes OMA a school system is the quality of supervision, for such facilities. The Kaduna State Education Quality Assurance Authority is really working with state mobilization officers, that's the school support officers at the local government level, and school mobilization officers to ensure that head teachers and other personnel at primary school level come to work and discharge their duties responsibly. This will commensurate with what we are paying them, as the minimum wage, which cannot or are not being found in other states where we expect to see services being rendered as we are doing now. Well, my advice is for them to really discharge their duties responsibly, irrespective of the fact that the supervisors might not really visit their schools. They should know that there is an overall supervisor who is the Almighty God, watching over them, watching over our affairs. So when you sign a contract to execute or to provide a service, you have to diligently provide such service. For teachers, their reward is no longer in the heaven, as we normally say. They have their rewards here on earth as well. We have a carrot and stick approach where any teacher who exceed or who execute his responsibilities in the manner that is adjudged to be outstanding is rewarded at the end of the year. We have Teachers' Day where we recognize teachers and reward them.
When it comes to Women Affairs Commission, our amiable governor, El-Rufai, did not leave this sector hanging, knowing that women are mothers of civilization, thus they play pivotal roles in the development of any nation. He has gone as far as building various skill acquisition centers to equip women in the state with various skills. These acquisition centers have trained and empowered over 10,000 young women in various skills and trades. Not stopping at that, the education-loving governor signed into law the free and compulsory girl-child education policy in the state. This has made lots of teenage mothers to go back to school and make something good out of their lives. In a chat with journalists, the Kaduna State Governor noted that free and compulsory girl-child education will eradicate the issues of hoodlums and touting in the country. As young women are engaged positively, they will be able to take care of their offspring. Catching them young is what free and compulsory girl-child education will address in the state.
I want to say the magnanimity of His Excellency is quantifiable. He has his people in his mind. I think that is the sole reason he has introduced every marshal to ensure that the children of school age should be in school at one point in time. And that is our work, and that's what we are doing. Right about now, we are all knowing that education is the bedrock of every society. So it's becoming a thing of the past to see that there are some parents, there are some religion fanatics who believe that the children should not go to school, but because they are female children. I think it's in the thing of the past. In fact, if we go to our schools here, you see the schools for only the girls, and you will be marveled that even the classes are not enough for them nowadays. So right about now they are even mixed up. They go to, it's no more a segregated system, they are mixed up. So it's becoming an thing of the past, like I said.
In terms of investment, the aim of every government is to make the state safe and peaceful for both foreign and local investors, thereby increasing the internally generated revenue (IGR) of the state. Governor El-Rufai, having this in mind, worked tirelessly to ensure the state is fully secured, peaceful, clean and attractive to both local and foreign investors. This worked as a lot of investors moved into the state and established companies like Olam Farms, Ahmad Musa Sports Center, among many others. This act recorded tremendous increase in the IGR of the state government. Also, the governor, knowing the important position of markets in a society and its role in improving revenue generation, moved to renovate all markets in the state with modern facilities such as car parks, police stations, restrooms, and standard shops, among others. We spoke to some traders, and this is what they had to say.
As for the car park, everything is fine. The place is beautiful. But they are sweeping the market, unlike that before. Honestly, people taking care of the market, they are doing their job perfectly well.
No, the market is okay, it's moving.
On sports, Governor El-Rufai has not left this important aspect of national development hanging, and the sports team in the state is proud of the governor, as their welfare is of utmost concern to the state government. In fact, the state loves sport so much so that football teams like Kano Pillars, Jigawa United, among others, adopted Kaduna State as a state to play their home matches at the Ahmadu Bello Stadium, which is considered the capital for Northwest football. Speaking with the Commissioner for Youth and Sports, he had this to say.
But the government under Nasir El-Rufai thought that sport is a very important segment of development in the society, and thought it wise therefore to create a separate ministry that will ensure development of sports across the state. And so the Ministry of Sports Development was carved out of Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture to stand alone as a ministry with the sole objective of ensuring that the development of sports, is ensured as a strategy of engaging the very many young people. And for your information, about 75% of the population of Kaduna State falls below the age of 35. And we are estimated to be over 10 million people. And if 75% of this 10 million people is below the age of 35, the sensible thing for the government to do, therefore, is to create all necessary framework and avenues to ensure that this largest segment of the population is actively engaged. And so, as a government, we thought of investing massively in education. We also thought of investing massively in the area of business innovation and technology. And then the third leg of the tripod is the creation of Ministry of Sports Development that is charged with the responsibility of not just developing sport as a physical exercise measure, but as a full-fledged economic enterprise that will see to the actualization and the development of our young boys and girls, through the not just discovery but also harnessing of the various talents and skills that they have in order for them to grow if you like, from grass to grace. And so that's why the Ministry of Sports Development was created, inching on the fact that Kaduna is one city in this country that more than any other one has produced so many distinguished men and women in sports, especially in the area of football and so on and so forth. So we are determined to do that, and in the last few years we have achieved miles. We have tried as much as possible to revive schools in our secondary schools, which is the foundation of catching young people at a very formative stage, discovering their talents, and then building these talents for them to become national and international figures. Where that we are doing school sports annually. We have also come up with a measure of developing sporting facilities and infrastructures in our communities and neighborhoods as a means of drawing the attention of these exuberant young people so that they can dispense of this energy that they have, in playing one game or the other. And from there, you are able to identify those from among them that are good, and those that are budding talents are also discovered so that they are put together and, appropriately channeled towards, standing on their own. Apart from the neighborhood, so we are providing neighborhood community sporting facilities across the state, especially in the build-up areas, the major cities of Kaduna, Zaria, and Kafancha. This has a lot of implications. One is social, apart from the economy that we are talking about. The social implication is that the neighborhood sporting centers draw the attention of these exuberant young people who otherwise will be lying idle and then waiting for the slightest opportunity to foment one form of crisis or the other. And Kaduna, we have had our own fair share of social unrest arising from the inability of state to really and appropriately channel the youthful exuberance of these young boys and girls in the right direction. So I would say, as a ministry that is responsible for the development of sports, we are doing very well. We are building a very solid foundation that whoever takes over from us in 2023 would have found, a framework that is already in place to be able to drive this objective of, engaging young people, identifying the budding talents, developing these talents, so that they become real economic activities.
The technical advisor of Kano Pillars, Ibrahim Musa, also had this to say.
We took Kaduna for long as our ground because the relationship we have in Kaduna people. If you check about 12 to 13 players, Kaduna indigenous they are pillars for long, not even now. When we did league, so when the governor give the cast, about 7 to 8 people Kaduna will get their response. Even some are not even we call them to play their card and sweat in that time. Not even the governor, the people of Kaduna State and the government. So we are appreciating the support they are giving to one of pillars. So whatever we are here, we will come. And the Almighty Allah, since we come to Kaduna to play in this season, we have not lost at our home matches. Unless Chicago we lost away. So that one mile we lost away match. So by doing this, that is why we are doing.
Also describing the governor, the captain of Nigerian Super Eagles, Ahmad Musa, MON, noted that His Excellency Malam Nasir Ahmad El-Rufai is one of the best governors he had come across in Nigeria, judging from his love for sports and massive development across the state. Speaking further, Captain Musa applauded the sports-loving governor for making Kaduna State a hub for sports development in the country. Just recently, the Deputy Speaker of Kaduna State House of Assembly organized a 3-day seminar and training on coaching management to produce credible coaches that will improve sport welfare across the state. Lecturers like the famous Austin Egwavon and others were present to lecture on the importance and quality of a good coach among other salient topics that were treated. This can only happen in a state where the governor's love for sporting activities is unquantifiable.
I would say a big thank you because it's not easy. Even though it's not easy for us to honestly, for what they have done for us, it's not easy. It's not every state that will give opportunity to use our stadium. We have two stadiums in mind, Bauchi and Kaduna. You get me? So picking this one, I believe, I'm sending a good message to the government personally based on what they have done for us. It's not easy. You get me? It's not easy for states to give us stadium.
Also not left out is the Kaduna State female football team. The state female team is not left out of this robust package of the sport-loving governor, as the team is well taken care of and they do their best in return to ensure victory for the state always.
To the Honorable Commissioner of Sport, Kaduna State. He has been doing a fantastic job, he has been doing a very good job, and I will tell him to keep doing his job and to remain focused on his job. Sport is a very large ministry, a very large organization, and for someone to run sport or to head sport is not easy. So I must say he's doing it well. But we'll call on him to do more because we're expecting more from him, despite the fact the good ones he has done before. So we say thank you very much, Mr. Commissioner. As Kaduna Queens Football Club, we say thank you, Daddy. Our Executive Governor, Nasir El-Rufai, he has been doing a fantastic job. He's a man of honor, a man of integrity, a man of his words. If he says he's going to do, he's going to do. We say thank you to him, and we're expecting him to do more of what he has been doing to us because he has done a lot for us that we cannot explain it all.
The governor did not focus on football only, as he has also done excellently well in various sporting areas such as cycling.
Coronavirus is real. COVID-19 vaccine is safe. Get vaccinated
now. Coronavirus is real. Get vaccinated now and maintain the NCDC guidelines in curbing the spread, which are 1. Wash your hands often with soap and water or an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. 2. Maintain social distance. 3. Wear a face mask. 4. Do not touch your eyes, nose or mouth. 5. Cover your nose and mouth with bent elbow or a tissue when you cough or sneeze. 6. Stay home if you feel unwell. 7. If you have a fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, seek medical attention.
Coronavirus is real. Get vaccinated. The earlier the better.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Sports, Kaduna State.